Go. We are live on the internet.
Right. It's all right. This is pretty wild, man.
Where are you at? You at home tonight, Anthony?
Yes, I'm at home.
I hear the hustle in the background.
Oh, yeah. It's not overriding, is it?
No. It's all good.
Okay. Wow, man.
10 years.
I know, man. That's pretty wild.
It's been a few years since we've done a St. Patrick's Day video together, so.
This is true. We kind of fell off our ritual there.
That's right.
So.
Getting back in the groove here.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Man, a lot has happened in 10 years, huh?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, really. Are we going to recap the last 10 years?
Tony.
Oh my.
You see Tony?
Hey, Tony. Come here.
Oh, who is that lady?
Look at you guys.
Hello.
Yeah, I had to give her a headphone.
I just had to jump in as the biggest fangirl of your friendship and say how happy I am that you guys know each other and that by extension I know you guys and how awesome you are.
Yeah.
Oh, likewise. We love you guys.
Yay. Lots of love.
This is awesome. We got Tony on the video chat.
Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Oh. Stop now. We love it. We love it.
Happy Friendiversary.
Oh, thank you. Maybe we'll all get together soon and celebrate.
Yeah, I know. So it's hilarious because we're, we don't live that far away from each other, but far enough.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Is that Jazz?
Hey, Jazz.
Yeah.
They say, hey, Jazz.
I love your hair, Tony. It's so pretty. Huh? I love your hair. It's so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I'm in there playing with my little cousin. It was about to fall down. I've been dancing to entertain her. Thank you so much, though. Yes.
That's awesome. Well.
Alrighty. Well, we love you guys. I'm getting ready to run off. I'm going to give it back to Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me too. Love you guys.
So.
Man, I didn't get a kiss.
The last 10 years. Wow.
Yeah, man. A lot of things have happened, man.
Yeah, really.
Personally.
Indeed. Churches have come and gone. Marriages have come and gone.
Yeah, man. It's been pretty wild.
And through it all, God is good.
Yes.
Let's just get that out there. Bottom line. And man, so I'll just tell the story.
Oh yeah, man.
The first time we were having it wasn't too long after we had started the emergent cohort here in Charlotte, I think. And we were meeting at the Caribou Coffee or whatever it was.
Right.
In Charlotte, and in through the door walks Anthony Smith and Rod Garvin, and immediately in that first conversation, knew that you knew a heck of a lot more than I did about all this stuff. You had read everything twice, and from that first conversation, I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, who is this guy? I have got to get to know this guy. And so we ended up making some plans to get together and hang out, and it was St. Patty's Day.
Right.
2005.
Man. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting day, man. Because I had been reading and just reflecting on a lot, and I was coming to this the cohort. I think you guys are reading. Um, I don't know. It was about an evangelical guy, the Barbarian Way, or something like that. What was
Oh, right, Erwin McManus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what we're talking about?
Yeah, so when I came in, though, I have been reading like some continental philosophy, man, and Stanley Hauerwas, something, man. It was like I was all off into this world, and I'm coming to this conversation. Think we're going to have this kind of level of conversation, and we're discussing Barbarian Way, which is a good book. Erwin McManus is a great writer. But I was just I was like, oh, okay, this is different. But I was expecting something different. But it was interesting though who was present that night. There was a couple of students from was it Southern Evangelical Seminary?
Something like that. Yeah, you're right.
So they come in there, they were testing out their apologetics on you guys, and pulling out their Norman Geisler on you guys, and so
oh my gosh.
Then we started, they were calling you guys, I can't remember the language, but it was kind of this sort of critique that we heard a lot during that time of emergent, that the postmodern barbarian horde. You guys are a bunch of relativists who want to destroy Western civilization as we know it. And it was fascinating discussion.
Oh man. You remember more of it than I do. I just remember meeting you and thinking, gosh, I've got so much to learn, so little time. But and little did I know, at that point that it was
my niece.
Hey.
Oh, sorry, my niece wants away. That's my niece Joy.
Hey, Joy. Nice to meet you.
My niece Rhea.
Awesome.
So, sorry about that.
No worries, man. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
It's casual. It's casual.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
My kids are two of my boys are both feeling under the weather, and Olivia, my daughter, is a teenager who goes into her cave and rarely emerges. So.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. Man.
You know what I'm talking about.
I went to Jasmine's cave the other day and got scared out. Me and my dog Toby. We went in and just interrupt her life.
Maybe we'll get a cameo from Toby on this video.
Yeah, man, he'll show us. They got him locked up in a room. We got a baby here now.
Oh, all right. I agree.
So, yeah, man, so much has happened, man. We went from emergent. It was crazy because I remember when we first started that cohort. I know it was the what was it called before that? It's something Spencer Burke had going on.
Well, yeah, it was called the Indie Allies.
Right, that's what it was.
Indie Allies. Yeah, sort of independent thinkers, kind of thing.
Right, bringing all that Western language, that West Coast language this way.
Yeah.
But I remember though when we had Tim Condor come down, and we had lunch or dinner with him at a Thai restaurant, and he was just a great guy to talk with, man, and really affirmative. And
we had some good times. For folks who might stumble upon this video years into the future. The Charlotte Emergent Cohort, as of today, still exists. It's still going.
Right.
But it's an interesting kind of point of transition. I think, again, this conversation continues to kind of evolve and change, and different people come in, and different people are interested in talking about different things. But at the same time, having said that, there's always new people who are emerging, who are reading different stuff, and they're kind of minds are kind of opening up to different ideas and deconstructing their theology and their faith, and whether they're coming from a liberal place or a conservative place, and So it's interesting. You know, we've tried to keep the space open here in Charlotte for conversation for folks wherever they might be coming from, and thanks to Bill Solomon, who's watching out there right now. Wave to Bill. And Michael Christo, who's I haven't talked. We haven't talked to him about this. He's sort of the de facto leader of the emergent cohort in Charlotte now. Sorry, Michael.
That's all right.
It's all on you now.
Now you know.
That's right.
Wow.
But over the years, we've done some great stuff. We had Tim Conder come in. We had Spencer Burke at one of our first meetups. We've had Brian McLaren come through on the Everything Must Change tour, the Church Basement Roadshow. Oh my gosh, we've
engaged in protesting and.
That's right. Wow.
Well, in Charlotte and in D.C. when we all went to D.C.
That's right.
At one time.
Yeah.
Immigration. I think it was immigration. Something around immigration.
Was that? Are you thinking about the time we went to Brian's church in D.C. and then we went and we met up with Jim Wallace?
Oh, yeah.
Sojourn.
And also the D.C. cohort at the time. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
So that was some fun times.
It's interesting. I've been thinking about lately. I had to go preach at a church in Chapel Hill this past weekend called Love Chapel Hill, and beautiful community, man. Doing some great kingdom work right in the city there. I was preaching from the Gospel of John, in particular Jesus' farewell discourse in John 15, and when Jesus talks about friendship. And so, it got me thinking about friendship, and I'm getting to read, you know me, man, I take it deep, so I'm reading like Aristotle, man, and,
Oh, wow.
I'm reading like monastic stuff about friendship, and so, two elements always stand out is, friends are willing to sacrifice for each other, and two, friends will always speak plainly the truth to each other. They're always frank with each other, and so that's why I appreciate our friendship, and we've both made some sacrifices down through the years for each other, and we've spoken some good truth, sometimes some hard truth to each other, and and that's what it's about.
Oh, brother, you're gonna make me cry, man. Did you hear Holly?
Where she
just went, oh.
Right. But man, good friendships. People transform each other. Good friendships, and I know I've been challenged, man. You pull things out of me, man. I didn't know were there.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I know that you have had a profound impact on my life. I would not be who I am today if it weren't for you. And I look at I'm looking at you like you look the same as when I met you 10 years ago. You haven't changed.
I got less hair, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I can't. Obviously, I do too. So I guess we got that in common too. But man, yeah.
And,
so much. Yeah. Looking back on 10 years, it's kind of crazy to think about all the things that have changed.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of interesting to think about how we've both changed, kind of personally.
Oh yeah, because I think even just on I ain't gonna deal with theology too much, but I was thinking the other day when we were on that minivan ride, and there's only two other guys I ride a minivan with. There's only two people on this earth that I'll ride a minivan. It's you and Dustin Wilson. I won't ride a minivan for nobody else. But my whole theory about minivans, so I won't get into that. So.
Right.
But I think about that fateful minivan ride to D.C. when you had this crazy idea about, man, what if we, this whole emergent thing, we were going to D.C. for this emergent gathering.
Right.
We got to chart and discern a future of emergent village. And he said, man, I had this crazy idea. Suppose we created this network that planted like missional emergency churches throughout the country. And I looked at you like, man, nobody's gonna go for that. They just want to talk and have really cool conversations, and but when we went up there, we kind of threw it out to certain folk, and then we had further conversation coming back. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, man, it was scary. Like, it was a scary thought to me. Like, how would that look? Like, we don't know a whole lot of people. Well, Steve know a whole lot of people, and I just remember initially just being a little scared, a little frightful, like, man, that was just too big for my mind. And at the time, but look what happened, man. Here we are.
Yeah.
This is
yes.
What is?
Go ahead.
Well, I'll say which gathering is this? This is our.
Well, yeah. I see. So this is you're talking about the genesis of Transform Network,
right?
Back in 2009, and this will be technically our 5th anniversary. Right. And I guess let's see, our 5th gathering. Is that right? Yeah. So we've had 4. This will be our 5th. Going back to you're talking about the Emergent Village gathering in DC, and I think that was the spring of 2009.
2009. Yep.
Yeah, and oh man, a whole lot was going on. At that time. But we had been reading Margaret Wheatley's essay on emergence,
right,
and talking about that on the way up to DC. And I remember she talked about in there, the importance of communities, and that was sort of what had been percolating for me, was just the importance of kind of creating a web and a network of communities. And we had been a part of this thing and calling it a conversation for a long time, and I was just feeling, and I felt like, there's probably other people out there that were kind of in the same place that I was, of just feeling like ready to take the next step or move into a different space of what does this look like to have this sort of emergent theological posture embedded or embodied in a local faith community. And so that was kind of the genesis of the idea of doing something with that ended up becoming Transform. And I guess I went from that gathering in DC. We began having conference calls through the summer of '09, pulling together a leadership team with people who many of whom are still around and giving input today. Kathy Escobar, Rich McCullen, and then so many new folks who have come in the last few years who have profoundly kind of energized and taken Transform into new exciting territory. But that was 2010, spring of 2010 ended up being our first gathering in Washington D.C.
Yeah, man.
That's a whole interesting story and how that whole thing happened. And, yeah, we can talk about that, but it's exciting. We're going back. I'm just going to put a plug in right now.
Yes.
Transform 2015 in Washington, D.C., April 23rd to the 25th. We'll be back. Transform is going to be back with Wesley, and Anthony is going to be there. I'm going to be there. And we were just on a call earlier tonight with Adam Bucko, who's coming down from New York City. Man, this guy is just incredible. I can't wait for people to hear him and meet him and get introduced to his work in contemplative activism and new monasticism, and oh my gosh. And
this Transform's gonna be pretty big, man.
Yeah, and you've been at all of them now, haven't you?
Yeah, all of them.
So it's just they're just really. I remember at Fort Worth 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? I guess San Diego was last year, and the year before that was Fort Worth. Kind of feeling like, where is this thing at? Where's this thing going? And Holly had just kind of got involved. That was her first gathering, but she hadn't really been involved in the planning of it at all. It had been, myself and Phil and Stephanie Shepard and just sort of like, I just remember thinking, I'm not really sure, where this is supposed to go or what's supposed to be next. And
yeah, I felt the same way.
yeah, and I remember we had that conversation there, like, is this it, or what are we gonna do? And I can't tell you, man. Holly, her involvement and the people that she has, sort of pulled in, people like Teresa Pasquale and Rebecca Burnt and Mickey Jones.
Oh yeah, tremendous folks, man. Tremendous. I remember just at San Diego, I was just blown away by Teresa's ministry.
Yeah.
Engaging with Mickey, man, and so you think back, and like I was saying, when we had that first conversation, the minivan heading up to D.C., you literally scared the crap out of me with that vision. I was like, whoa, brother. I didn't say it at the time. I probably looked all cool, like, yeah. Praise the Lord. This could be awesome, But I'm like, man, this is massive. This is big. And, now, man, it's just, when we look at our culture now, I'm just so grateful for all the gifts that have come together to organize this, to bring this about, because this witness, this contemplative activist witness, is so vital. This is almost, it's like this, Paul talks about kairos moments, when moments of pregnant possibility of the divine erupting into the culture. And I think we play a part, I think we're a part of that larger conversation. And to, be quite frank, I think we're a part of many other groups that are doing different things around the nation. But I think we're a part of a great disruption in North American Christianity. I think we're a part of a reimagining of what this way of Jesus can look like in North American society. The beginning of, and I've always seen this, even with our engagement together with Emergent Village and other like-minded networks over the decade, I've always, especially more so with Transform, because there's a deeper, stronger, more powerful intentionality around disentangling Christianity from its racist, imperialist past in North America. And that is such a vital witness. And then we're talking about helping people produce and cultivate and host communities out of that ethos, And so we're planting some serious seed in this culture.
And that's your influence, brother. I mean, I got to give you credit for that. I mean, would that have been as central if you hadn't been there and been involved from the very beginning, And folks like Elias and Rosario Cruz, who was on the leadership team for a long time, and that this was intentionally not, trying to decenter the white male guy thing from the beginning, and doing that more successfully at times than others. But I mean, I look at what we're doing now, and the trajectory that we're on, and like you said, I mean, Transform is, it's part of, again, a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to Emergent Village stuff. But I mean, Emergent always said it was just a node in the web, of this broader thing, and Transform is just one of these pieces of the bigger picture. But it's, I mean, I feel like it's I don't know, it's an exciting, important part, and I'm grateful to be a part of it.
So when I say that you pull greatness out of me, being a part of this has been a part of that, because you know I think I've told you in the past, and I've told other people that I've been pretty transparent about this. But one of the things that I struggle with is pusillanimity. You know, what the monastics call pusillanimity, which is smallness of soul. And so when people, a lot of times, you know, I got, you know, like a friend like you see greatness in me that I may not see in myself. You know, and it's been through our friendship, man, you pulled a lot out of me. Just like you said, I may have pulled things out of you. But I think that's a part of great friendships, is that when we can pull greatness out of each other, and even better, if we can help play some part in changing the world around us, that's even better. You know? And so.
Well, I've always, you know, part of that profound respect that I have for you is just feeling like you have so much to say that people need to hear. So part of that has been me, you know, trying to get you to record videos and do stuff like this, and just because I think your voice, you know, you have so much good stuff to say. Always, you're always reading. I don't know if people know this about you. Probably not, because you're pretty private, quiet. You know, you're not putting yourself out there. You're humble. Like other folks, but I mean, you're constantly reading 2 or 3 books, and I mean, I thought my capacity for input was pretty big, but you are obviously you're into stuff all the time and soaking stuff in, and you just have an amazing mind for synthesizing these things and putting these ideas together, and you know, I mean, better than anybody else I know, and so, and
but see, here's the thing I love about you. You get stuff done, man.
Well, see, here's the thing. You get stuff done. You get stuff done. I mean, you are, and again, this is part of my
overthink stuff.
You are in your local context. You have like made that commitment there. You're so you're part of the fabric of that community, and that's been so exciting to watch you just dig in, and the community stuff that you're doing in Salisbury, North Carolina. Like, people all over the country should be paying attention to what you're doing. Again, because you know, I think it's a profound example, you know, to the rest of us of you know, how to be in place and rooted and connected, to use our friends in the Parish Collective's language, which is, you know, which is great language.
Yeah, and see that when we went to Seattle, when we partnered with them for was it the first Inhabit conference, right?
It was, yeah.
Right, and that left a big indelible mark on me. I mean, it just, you know, it left a big mark on me, and I just remember going back home thinking, man, I got to rethink, you know, how I'm engaging the world around me, and you know, but I tell friends around here, and I tell my children this all the time: you're only as good as your friends. All the time, I'll tell them that all the time. And so, like here in Salisbury, man, I'm surrounded by some, and with and in partnership with some great folks, man. You know, Chris Sifford, man, a great brother, great connector. Great advocate for youth in our community, Pastor Tim Bates, powerful brother. It has had a news program around his ministry here in Salisbury called Man Up Mondays, and he's actually the founder and organizer for Nightcrawlers. You guys participated in that. Pastor Pat Jones, a lot of folks on Tsunami that I'm engaged with. There's a literacy program that we started here. Miss Woods, Yolanda Bird, Nick Means, Avis Williams. I'm getting all these names because they might be watching. But you know,
talk about. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
You mentioned the literacy program. I don't think a lot of people know that you're doing that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, it's been almost 2 years. A good friend of mine now, we've become good friends, Chris Siffer, he had this idea of, you know what, man, what it would look like if we just start having these community think tanks in the community, and we would just talk about, you know, issues that are affecting our community. And the idea was to have a group of people, a community group, where we just engage in consciousness raising. So we would talk about history, culture, politics, real stuff, education, you know, there's things that are happening in our community. And so we would have these think tanks, and one of the think tanks that we had was around education. And so we got into this whole thing about disparity, inequities, illiteracy. And then one of the things that happens with our think tank sometimes is almost like it's like an intersectional moment where people, personalities, passions, and gifts come together, and they midwife an idea. And so out of this particular workshop we had around, or community conversation rather, around education, led by Avis Williams, Miss Ella Woods, and I can't think of the other person right now. But anyway, Tsunami, the colonel for Tsunami came up, and he's like, what can we do to create a local program, a community of learners, where we tackle head-on illiteracy from the 3rd to 5th grade in our community? And so one of the things about our community is I think all our schools are Title I schools, and so there's a certain dynamic taking place with that. And so the chamber gave birth to that, but certain key individuals gave birth to that in the chamber. But, you know, other things have happened because of, and see, that all that's connected with engaging, coming out of Seattle, really. I mean, when I look back and I think about that sort of powerful moment in Seattle, coming back just more armed and charged to do something and engage, and more importantly, to ask the question, you know, how can I be more incarnational in my context? You know, what do I sense the Spirit of God doing, and what are we going to do about it? And so with Mission House, we began to ask that question, and me and Dustin in particular, we began to engage. I began to engage the chamber, and Tsunami came out of that. Me and Dustin also engaged another group of folks called Rolling Concerned Citizens. We helped sort of jumpstart that a little bit, and we still are key organizers with that. And that's been an interesting group. It's one of the most diverse community groups we have in our area. And we've been a part of some really powerful things around civic engagement, getting people registered to vote, educating folks about, in particular, things that's happening in North Carolina at the General Assembly. And now, you know, Mission House is about to become a church. You know, we're about to launch Sunday mornings, and so that's kind of a snapshot.
What's the latest on that? Tell me the date again.
Sure. Well, right now, we've had to do all the nuts and bolts, you know, make sure, you know, the legal aspect of things, the business aspect of things. But, I mean, for the last 3 years, we've been meeting, well, 4 years, really. We've been meeting in homes and also in Tony's salon where we had that space, and meeting in third place communities. And so now we've gotten to the part of our journey where we've heard this cry, not just within ourselves, but also people out in the community. Like, when you guys going to become a church? Like, when is this going to happen? And so right now we're looking at starting some preview worship gatherings on Sunday morning. So we're in the process of starting that. We don't have after this week, we'll have an exact date, I believe, because we have one more check on that. We got one more check on that checklist we got to check off at the end of the week before we can announce an official date for our preview services. But man, we're, you know, highly. I mean, I thank God for Dustin and Hannah, man. Like, you know, Dustin's like a beast, man. He's like, he's a very organized brother, man. He wouldn't say that. He's all humble and stuff, but I thank God for his leadership and his family, and we just have a great chemistry together as a leadership team. And we got some great folks in Mission House themselves, you know, from Tim and Vanessa White, man, to Sister Ebony Harris, to Arnisha and Brother George, just part of that, and it's just some really great folks, man. They're just really excited about, and also Tanya Miller Cross has been participating. I think you met Tanya before at the first cafe we had last year, her and her husband. And we're just inviting people in. They may still be a part of existing congregations, but Mission House is kind of a different dynamic taking place. I always tell folk we're more of an army of love, and so we're like a kingdom beachhead, a kingdom outpost, and so that's
cool,
where we're at now, man. Hopefully by the end of the week we'll have an exact date or something close to an exact date. So don't want to start on Easter. Church planners say don't start on Easter, right? So
right.
But that's kind of a snapshot.
Cool.
I think the best people to ask, like, what's happening locally would be the people that I've been partnering with and collaborating with. They'll be the best ones to articulate to you what's been happening here and the impact that we, as Mission House, may have had on some folks in the community. And so, yeah. What about you, man?
Sounds like something a humble missional practitioner would say.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
oh man,
I can say this about the chamber for real though. Chamber has really upset the apple cart.
Nice.
Because it's a different dynamic than from what I've been told. It's a different kind of dynamic than people are used to here. I mean, we openly talk about oppression, and we talk about and affirm in very powerful ways black folk and their culture and their history in a way that a lot of people sometimes can be uncomfortable with here on this local scene. And, yeah.
Man. Well, that's good stuff. And I'm grateful that we've had, that you and I have collaborated in different ways over the years, and that we still continue to collaborate through Transform Network. And I couldn't imagine doing it without you, man. And so it's just good to see you, hear your voice, get a chance to connect here. St. Patrick's Day 2015. And hope to be doing this again in 10 years' time, maybe with 3D holograms or something.
Right.
We'll be, our brains will be downloaded into computers by then. We'll all be in the cloud, but,
right. Yeah, is it the mind and the machine?
That's right. We'll have reached the synchronicity or whatever it's called, and not synchronicity. What? Anyway.
So, man, well, me, man. One of the things I like to do is I like to dream.
Yeah.
And I like to dream. Whatever dreams come, however they come to view. But what are some of your hopes and dreams, man, for the next 5, 10 years?
Wow. Well, let's see. What am I at liberty to say?
Wait, you ain't got to get no specifics.
I'll just say I'm excited. I mean, part of it is to see where Transform Network is going,
right?
And excited to see where Holly and particularly Mickey Jones and her leadership will take Transform. And gosh, I mean, I think dreams for me are rooted in the present reality, And so I know there are things that are happening that I'm excited about. That I see the trajectory of where I see where they could be taking me, and I'm excited about those things. But I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. I'm excited about the future all the time. So it's not hard for me.
Right.
But I'm particularly optimistic and excited, and you know what that, I don't know. I'm all about partnerships and collaboration and connecting with different networks and different folks, and I see a group of folks that are going to come together in April, and potentially convening folks again in different spaces around different things. I just the stuff that happens, the relationships that get formed, and there's just something really powerful and unique that happens in that face-to-face relational space that just can't be. This is great. I love that we have this technology to be able to have this conversation when we can't be together and hang out tonight in person. But I'm really looking forward to the next time we get to hang out together in person. And those are just, can't trade those for the world,
Right.
Anyway, the future dreams, man. I'm happy, and life is good.
Amen. Amen. That's all right.
This is my question for you. I feel like always. What are you reading right now? What are you?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I told somebody the other day we were having Bible Lab, and there was a group of us. We usually hang out late after Bible Lab, having these conversations into the late night. Somebody asked me what I was reading. I think I was reading I'm usually reading 14, 15 books at a time.
Oh my gosh, I greatly underestimated the number of books that you read at any one time.
Yeah, but I'm picking up here, I'm putting down, and I'm putting
you
things
read
together.
14 or 15 books at a time.
So.
Oh my gosh.
Right now I'm reading. I work backwards. I'm reading a great book. Well, I'm reading John and Empire by Warren Carter. Brilliant book, man. Brilliant commentary on Empire and the Gospel of John.
Okay.
And how he brings empire studies, and and he brings alive the Roman Empire and how the Christian community was wrestling and resisting, accommodating itself to the Roman Empire. Anyway, I ain't supposed to give a summary of the book, but so it's John and Empire.
That's great, man.
I'm reading a lot of John commentaries. There's another one called John, Storyteller, Evangelist, Interpreter. I can't think of the author's name right now. I'm reading up. There's a book that Peter Rollins suggested a couple weeks ago called "God is the Unconscious." So I've been reading that. I'm trying to get my mind around this conversation about time and psychoanalytic thought and its relation to the political. So I've been reading that. Been reading a commentary on Mark. It's sort of a commentary on Mark that's unique. It's called man, can't think of the name of it right now, but it's talking about Jungian psychology. It's like a Jungian interpretation of the Gospel of Mark.
Interesting. Wow.
So also along, and I think in quadrants, and so theology, I'm reading that. In the political, I've been reading. Back to the theology piece. I was listening to for a little while, and I got to pick it back up again. Kind of off for a week with Richard Rohr's book about love. I can't think of the title of it right now. It's like
Immortal Diamond, or?
It's something love. Can't think of it right now. But
Okay.
it's the most recent book that came out. It's about love.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I just been. Some of these books most of them I read. A few of them are audio books because I don't have enough time in the day. So some of them just got to listen to audio books.
Yeah, man.
But I've been reading a lot of innovation stuff around like the Kelly brothers wrote a book called Creative Confidence. It's been over probably a couple weeks. So I got to pick that back up. I have a rotation here. And then been reading some post-colonial stuff. And trying to think what else, man. I'm usually down a certain road. I gotta look at my bag. Hold up.
While you're doing that, Gail on YouTube is asking if you can recommend any other commentaries on the Gospels. You mentioned a couple on John and one on Mark.
Yeah. One of my favorite, and it's really not straight up commentary like verse by verse, but one of the best books. It's somewhat like a commentary, but it's more of a narrative interpretation of Mark, and it's Mark as Story by David Rhodes. And that book has been very formative in my reading, but a really good translation. It's actually recommended to me by I can't remember his name now. Listen, I'm going to feel bad. Up in Chicago, missional pastor, seminary professor, David, what's his name? Fitch, yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, David. If he's watching this. But he recommended a great commentary for me one time by the theologian or the Bible scholar's name. His last name is Boring, Boring. I want to say Eugene Boring, but it's a great commentary on the Gospel of Mark. Probably one of the best ones I've read. Also, Kevin Blunt's, I think it's Kevin Blunt, African American theologian. He has some great commentary on Mark. But David Rhodes' book, Mark His Story, has been probably the best that I've read. All of Warren Carter stuff is really good. And I like N.T. Wright as well. His short commentaries, he does these books for everybody. They've been pretty enlightening. It's pretty like every day. It's probably good for a group study. Depends on how deep you want to go. But man, I've been really on this kick of post-colonial. I've been reading a lot of stuff around decolonization and also internalized racial oppression in our community. And just been really paying attention and gleaning from that world and trying to understand why some of the things happen in my community the way they do. And also been reading a lot of, obviously, faith-rooted organizing. Alexia's book with Peter. That's taken me in some other direction. That's still like a primary text for me. And it really informs a lot of the work that I do here locally. And but it's taken me into, exposed me to other thought about how to organize and so forth. So I'm probably missing some things. I try to read broadly, man. I read everything from architecture to music. Oh, one guy I've been listening to music-wise. I've been listening to a couple of things musically. Beyond books. I know you asked about books, but music.
No. Yeah. You're into music. You're into movies. You're well-rounded.
So I've been I've become a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar.
A lot of people talking about his new album.
Yeah, it's just a rawness and a freshness that I haven't heard in a while. Lupe's still my man, and I like also like Lecrae, but look, Kendrick Lamar really captures something that's been in me. Like for the last couple of years, I've engaged more deeply in my community, And you know, we just need more artists and preachers that are willing to speak boldly and courageously to the issues of our day, and issues that greatly impact the community. And you know, I find a courage. You know, I find Kendrick Lamar's music emboldening me. You know, just sort of giving me a courage to speak forth from my heart. So you know,
I hear musically it's fantastic, and then lyrically it's a little bit so-so, but it's kind of a concept album, or?
yeah, he's trying to go back to the roots of soul music, and I mean, a couple of I haven't really I've listened to all the tracks, but there's a couple of tracks that really grab me. One is Mortal Man, where he's having this. I mean, he's talking about conjuring the spirit of Mandela, and I just, you know,
Wow.
I mean, he gets real deep with it. But then at the end of this track, you got to listen to this track. It's very powerful. He's having this conversation with Tupac. And I don't know how he pulled that off. Like, the guy who's talking to him sounds just like Tupac. So I don't know how they did that.
Whoa.
But it's like this, and Tupac's kind of like in this prophesying mode. Like, he's kind of saying what's next for America, you know.
Wow.
And it's pretty powerful stuff. And of course, you know, my main cut on that, it was a single he released weeks ago, Black of the Berry, which is a very powerful track. The thing is, I pay attention to that, not only because my children listen to hip hop, because I'm a child of hip hop too. It's part of who I am. And I just love good music that's conscious, that calls you to courage and boldness and introspective, and you know, try to pull things out of the unconscious. And I find that in Kendrick's music. But I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Moby as well lately. I love
Moby.
Yeah, I love Moby. And I know some controversy about, you know, some of the stuff he pulls from, you know, certain cultures. So yeah.
Is he still doing that, man?
No, the last album.
Not so much lately.
No.
Okay.
But I just like the way he does it. You know, it's just.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's making it relevant to context, you know. But,
yeah. Right on.
So, that's a few things, man. Of course, I'm always studying innovation.
Of
go
course.
on and on. Philosophy.
Okay, movies. What's the latest movie that you've seen that you loved? And
a couple movies. We organized a group of people to go see Selma.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was really cool. And then afterwards, I was able to organize people after that to meet several people from within the community. Some people even drove up from different cities to participate in going to see the movie together.
Yeah.
And so it was a great discussion locally. It was really cool. We got a little blurb in the Salisbury Post.
That's right.
On that front page, so that was really cool.
That's awesome.
But Selma, for various reasons that people have mentioned probably 100 times over, just good to see the humanity of King and seeing the dramatization of the risk that a lot of these folks took so many years ago. Another movie that has really, I don't hear a lot of my friends talk about it, you know, but one movie I really love was Interstellar. You know, it was this really cool narrative. It was a really complex movie. And so they're playing with a lot there. There's a lot of psychology, a lot of quantum physics, string theory, you know, multiple universe type stuff, wormholes. I mean, they were playing with a whole bunch of things intertwining into this really beautiful story. And it's a powerful story about love and how love is the most basic element in our universe and how it connects us across the dimensions. And, So that's one day maybe I get to preach a sermon series on it or something.
Oh man, yeah, I thought I thought Interstellar was pretty amazing too.
And
Yeah.
of course, it brought the issue of climate change, the way we tell history to each other to justify arrangements. Like I don't know if you remember the scene. I love this scene when they were having the parent-teacher conference, and how the daughter of the main character played by Matthew McConaughey was challenging the narrative of the moon landing, because they changed the textbooks to say that we really didn't land on the moon, right? And it was just like really odd, and it's just, you got to think like, is this what happens? It's kind of like you hear people talk about how we dumb down the way we tell history in America, and so it kind of touches on that a little bit. It makes you wonder, how else have we done that? Right. We've done that in many ways.
That's so interesting.
I mean, so many elements of that movie are really powerful. I thought great storytelling.
Yeah. So wow, everybody's got to see Interstellar. It's just an incredible movie.
Can't think of anything else. I mean, there's a lot of independent films and stuff nobody's probably heard of. But I watch a lot of foreign. That's another thing too. I watch a lot of foreign movies, in particular independent films. And I love watching movies where I don't know the language.
There's a movie that has 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That is a story set in Singapore that I want to see, and I forget the name of it, but that would be a fun one to watch sometime.
Is it a recent release?
Pretty recent, yeah. Illo is the title of it.
Just send it to me if you can find it.
Yeah.
I'm always looking out for good movies to watch. And that's one of the things we do at Mission House, is that we kind of fell off a little bit, but we try to find good movies to watch together as a community, something that's out of the norm, and it's really challenges to really think about the world that we live in and in our own community. And so there's something very powerful about watching films from different cultures, as part of that whole intersectionality piece. Because new ideas, new insight comes from that kind of, when you cross a path with different ways of looking at the world. And for some folk that's scary, but I'm always invigorated by that. So.
Right on. Well, that seems like a great way to end our conversation, because I am grateful for crossing your path 10 years ago, my friend, and that has made all the difference. To steal a line from Robert. All I can.
Is it the river runs through this? I don't know.
It's not Robert Blake, and it's not Robert Plant, because he's the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. But anyway. Oh, brother.
All right, man. Well, I love you, man. And
love you too.
Let's continue to do the work of the kingdom of God, and live our best lives here.
That sounds awesome.
All right, man. Well, peace and blessings to you and the family.
Thanks. You too.
All right, brother.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.